And we're listening to the sound of our beloved Tony Jones, Woman Festo. Woman Festo. And so we love her. We salute Tony Jones. We do not own the rights to this music. I know that I'm coming in a little late, so this will be for recording purposes so that you can get in where you fit in, and we can prepare for this Lionsgate that's coming up. I normally broadcast at the 1 o'clock hour, and if you could just set your calendars and clocks to join us on Wednesdays. We have resumed our tribe talks in our Rebirth Woman community. So thank you all for tuning in even later if when you catch this part of the broadcast. But listen, this has been a very interesting morning because I managed to have one of those crazy migraines talking about energy loading onto the planet right now. Some of you all may also be experiencing awakenings and ascension symptoms right now. And they can feel like something's wrong, but not necessarily something is wrong. Your system is being reset, particularly if you've changed your diet, if you've changed your mindset, if you've changed how you go through your rhythms and rituals. This time you could be experiencing the benefit of all the seeds that you have planted in terms of reawakening yourself and others, depending on you being in alignment with your divine assignment. And so to that end, I want to just talk really quickly with you about preparing for our Lionsgate. I've tagged some of you already, and I know that I'm a little late, and of course the algorithm in our Facebook group is slow. That's one of the reasons why I stopped broadcasting here in the first place. So whenever you join in, if you could just say a quick hello, let me know you're here. Even if you're going to be watching the replay, I think it'll be worth your while. I took some time to prepare so we could prepare as a tribe. And I will be coming back to do some of the drawings that I promised to those who signed up for the Paradigm Shifter membership. I'm going to be doing drawings for you to actually show people the new technology of the inner voice readings that I do, so you can experience it live. And if you have some sisters, hey, my love, thank you for joining. If you have some sisters that you know by name, if you could tag them in the comments so that they can also get on in here and see the tags. I do appreciate the support and the help on getting this word out. I had to press through my own self to get here today because of whatever ascension symptoms I was experiencing last night. It slowed me down tremendously. And while I tried to push through and just be a slave to, I don't like to be late, I had to honor whatever process I was going through to even come here and share this message with you all so that we can prepare for the Lionsgate. So let me just put the context down of what we're doing today so everybody can know. My intention here is to prepare for the Lionsgate, specifically women who have accepted the call to become the priestess of your own household, not of necessarily any tradition. Some of you may already be priest in a tradition, but you still haven't accepted the calling of what it means to your household and your bloodline. We've been talking a lot about bloodline. We've been talking a lot about origin. We've been talking a lot about our birthright. All of that during this time is active on the planet right now. There's so much happening. And so this particular Lionsgate is unique. Again, last year we were going through an eclipse time. This time it's happening on a new moon. So this is a real time of reset if we take advantage of it. So what does all of this mean? I want to be able to share with you and go into that, because so today I'm not going to focus on just the Lionsgate, because my intention is to talk to the tribe of women who are on the awakening journey in this particular rebirth woman tribe of the free, rebirth women who are rebirthing what it means to be a woman, women who are rebirthing what it means to reprogram your love, sex, and money, relationships, and mindset. That's who I'm talking to today. And so no matter where you are on the journey, you are the one that has answered the call. You are the Neo in the matrix of your life. What is the matrix of your life? The matrix is not just a movie. It is also several codes for us who are moving through an awakening, particularly the matrix representing the Ma energy, the Ma force of the womb of the universe. And so that's going to mean different things for different people. Some of you are advanced. Some of you are adept who are in here. Your presence, your comments, your participation matters for those who are neophytes, the Neo on the journey, who are just opening to what it means to accept this calling, to be the one in your bloodline, to be the one who is speaking different, talking different, eating different. Sometimes you have been the misfit, the black sheep, the one that has been casted or outcasted. And now it's your turn to do the casting. What does it mean to do the casting? Because you cannot be a priest or priestess of your own household and not cast. What does that mean in terms of casting? So let's look at the casting, because casting means several things. And I'm just going to start with a loose conversation until more of us join to get through the presentation, because all of this won't even be on YouTube. So I'm going to give YouTube about another 15 minutes. For those of you who are watching there, let me know, those of you who are watching there, because membership does have its privileges. So I do want to be able to have women's conversation with women only. And, there are people who dip in and dip out. Sometimes they're trolls and that type of thing, but we want it to be sacred. So let me go through sharing my screen really quickly, because I did prepare. Well, first of all, let me get the slide ready so that it can go right to where I need it to go to and get right on into this for the sake of presentation. Thank you for taking time out your schedules to adjust. I had to shift from the 1 o'clock time again for those of you who are just tuning in. Okay. All right. So here we are. This is preparing your gateway. For those of you who don't know me, I am LaTanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits. Therefore, you can find me at Rev Coach CEO on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And what does profits have to do with anything of passion, pleasure, or purpose? Hopefully I can be the needle that weaves some of this together today for those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, and those of you who even think you know me. I'm meeting new aspects of myself. So sometimes I'm reintroducing myself to even myself when I come to be a vessel. So that being said, let's talk about what it means for you becoming the high priestess, because that's particularly what this gateway represents this year. I want to say that again. Every year, the Lion's Gateway has general meaning, which is prosperity, leadership, and reprogramming in this portal to manifest the life that you desire, the life that you deserve. That's the general meaning of this particular gateway, governed by the number 8. Well, the number 8 is significant here, and I'm going to go into it more on our reset day. But in terms of preparing, pay attention to if you're seeing the number 8. Pay attention if you have karmic stuff that's showing up for you. What do I mean by karmic? Sometimes the things the wounds that are coming up for us in this time to clear during a gateway like this are not necessarily yours. You might ask the question, why am I experiencing this? Well, what it means to be the one, the neophyte, the adept, the one who is advancing on this path of awakening, sometimes the responsibility comes with the karmic debts in your bloodline. And so sometimes when you rise to the occasion to say, I want to know more, or I accept the more part of my journey, guess what? It comes with unknown factors. It's not an easy thing, but it has many, many rewards, not just for you in this lifetime, but you are doing epigenetics. Somebody put epigenetics in the comments. Epigenetics is, we've been talking again about birthright, genealogy, origin. Well, there's no way not to talk about our ancestral connection, our bloodline, who we were and who we are, because we are just the ancestors returning over and over again until we get this particular lesson. And so this number 8 has a karmic energy to it. It is the number of infinity. It is what you don't clear on the first round, you will clear in another round, another lifetime, past lifetimes. Who you've been in this lifetime may not be who you've been in another, but it is connected to who you've been. And some of you have done this type of work of past life regression. Some of you have had communication in dreams on who you were. Some of you may have even been martyred in another lifetime because you were the high priestess who would not bow down. Come on now, through the talking about the New Orleans Mardi Gras Indians who hold the phrase and the affirmation, no bow down, I will not bow down. Why? Because many of us have seen images of us being bowed down, beaten, broken, and enslaved. And that is a part of it. But we weren't slaves. We might have been enslaved. And so the slave narrative has persisted for far too long. But the lion now, what does the lion represent? Who is the lion? We could start going into the genealogy, and maybe we will, of the Lion of Judah. What is the Lion of Judah? Who is Judah? Who are the children in the tribes of Judah? Judah. Why lion? Oh my goodness. I'm getting excited. And it's so layered, because our master teachers of the mystery schools and the priests of the mystery schools knew that a day would come in the collective consciousness of who we were, that we would need to go through a cycle of almost de-evolution in order for us never to forget again before we evolve and rise back into the position that we once were. When you misuse authority, you lose it. Oh my, that might be good for somebody right there, because the lion represents leadership and authority. They are called the king of the jungle for a reason, wouldn't you say? And so when we talk about becoming the priestess, the high priestess of your own household, it's not just about the beauty of walking in the lion energy, because it has a certain gait. Ooh, a lion is something else. It has a certain roar. When we even talk about the Lion of Judah, they sing about the lion. They sing about the tribe of Judah waking up, because they say that the American, the black, in the melanated one in America is the one who forgot. So this is so many layers. The lion also represents, for in some mystical teachings, the gateway or the energy of Isis. But in this particular year, it is representing the gateway and the energy of Sekhmet. We just came out of Kali, which I talked about last week. It's a fire energy. Leo is a fire energy as it is, which is also represented. And so, I'm always talking about the cosmos, and I'm always talking about what is happening in the cosmos, right? And I thought about that. It's like, that is the way that my oracleship comes through, is through that. And so I want to offer a little walk through it and break it down a little bit more. So we're talking about what a priest is and a priestess. And of course, the traditional definition is someone who's authorized to perform the sacred rites of a religion, especially as a mediatory agent between humans and God specifically. That's the traditional definition of what we've known as a priest. Depending on your religion, You may have called it by another name. It could have been a bishop, pastor, minister, nun. They were part of a priesthood. The expanded definition is a person who performs religious duties and ceremonies in a non-Christian religion. This is where we get the re-emergence of the ATRs, African traditional religions, which we were made to be afraid of through Western civilization and missionaries coming into traditional lands, making people feel that what they were doing was wrong. And was given a whole different theology. We were nature people. So, the other expanded definition, someone who is specially trained to perform weddings and other religious rites, and in many cases full-time for their churches, or we can expand that, we can say for their religious circle. Someone who is in charge of the prayers and ceremonies, etc. Someone whose office it is to perform religious rites, to make sacrificial offerings. The simplified version I want to work with today is service to a higher office through ordination or rites administered by an elder. Because when we start to talk about you becoming the priest or priestess of your own household, there is a responsibility, there is an inheritance, there is some training, and there are prayers, ceremonies, and rites that we have forgotten right in our own bloodline. How can you use them in this time and in this season? When we think about service, particularly the melanated man and woman in these Americas, it has a distorted meaning because we've been so taken advantage of. And so we have to reprogram service as not something that's equated with servitude, which is slavery, or being poorly paid or compensated, or not compensated at all. So service still has a, when we think of epigenetics and we think about the trauma in our bloodline, it is passed on through the physical, the mental, and the emotional. And so when there has been, when the Black woman in particular has been the workhorse of this world and has been raped and robbed of her mind and of who she really was, that we are functioning in a bit of amnesia. We can also go and teeter on the other side where the only thing we're looking to serve is ourselves and our own ego. So service is something that is equated to ministry, to a priesthood. But I want you today to consider your ministry role through as daughter, mother, wife, your profession, your calling, your purpose, or even as a friend, sisterhood. Because there is a sisterhood that you are in right now called Rebirth Woman, but some of you may have pledged a sorority that represents much more in ancient Egypt than it does in Greek philosophy. The Greek philosophy just scratches the surface of who you are, particularly as the cornerstone, the stone that the builders rejected. And so when it almost is a double entendre for someone to be Greek and melanated, because you are the secret, you are the Eastern Star, you are the cornerstone, you are that. But still think of sisterhood. Think of your relationship in terms of your relationship with other women, because we have had a negative connotation there through Western society as well, possibly starting right in our own household. Service. So we've been taught to see service first as service to God out there. God is something unreachable. And then we begin to awaken to the language of the universe, which is, if we're talking about the universe, we can't talk about the universe without talking about universal law. We can't talk about universal law without dealing with first cause. The first cause is the origin of our remembering who the woman really is, who the divine feminine is, your womb consciousness. So when we talk about as above, so below, we're talking about universal law. This law can be found through both the law of attraction, but also the law. Oh God, trying to simplify it as much as I can. Because I am going to go into universal laws more in our Sunday time. But by shifting to this, you can see you are the first temple, the first vessel, and the portal. Service begins with the religion of you. As above, so without. Excuse me, as within, so without. As above, so below. This is considered the law of compensation for some language. Others language it as other things. We'll talk about that more as well. But when we're talking, I want you to put it in the context of not just you, but you as the universal you. Service begins with the religion of you. And so I chose this because I'm always talking about new moons, full moons. I'm using terms such as Leo and every month we're looking at what the new moon is in and what the full moon is in. And many of us are still stuck on just the sun sign. But the sun sign in the center represents so much more. As you can see in this wheel, the Bible talks about the wheel in the middle of the wheel. Even when we talk about terrestrial activity, it talks about there being a wheel. That these objects move like a wheel. So if there are extraterrestrials, which is just other life on other planets that are moving through our galaxy, how do we move through our galaxy as a wheel? How do we orbit? What's our orbit? And so your sun sign is the you. It's the religion of you, but we're not taught that. We've been taught to be afraid of this or that make it light, like it's lightweight. When it's everything in terms of understanding yourself and others, understanding your relationship to love, sex, and money in those 3 key areas. But of course, there are 12 areas because there are 12 houses, just like there are 12 disciples, just like there are 12 deacons, just like we could go on. There are 12 tribes. All of this is represented in the 12, which is deduced to the number 3. Which takes us to a trinity. We could go on and on when it comes to the religion of you. There's the outer houses, and then there are the positionings of how you're orbiting and how you access aspects of you. There are also more than even to this in terms of the subconscious mind and the mindset that you were born with and around. The influences on your mindset, your way of being, your way of moving. And the journey of awakening is how you move out of fixed positions into positions that serve your vision in this lifetime, your knowingness in this lifetime. How does it serve your purpose? How does it serve your pleasure? How does it serve your passion? And there's that word serve again, because the first service is to the religion, the God of your understanding, you. Can you understand you? So when we come through this Western culture, we're born, we're given a birth certificate. That is oh God, I don't even want to get on the birth certificate right now. We've already talked a little bit about that being the first era. But when we're born, we're given over to authorities. outer authorities have more jurisdiction over your mother's birthing you until we started doing more home births and understanding who we are, we and who we were. Because the whole birthing process is really traumatic. The type of lights that they put us under, traumatic. The way we're taken away, the way the umbilical cord is handled. The umbilical cord should not just be cut the way that it is, the way we're disconnected. All of that is trauma. Intentional. That is not the ancient way of how we don't give birth laying down unless there's something wrong. We don't, the umbilical cord is just not cut. Even the sac is handled a certain way. Now we have people who are becoming doulas and midwives again to remember how to do these sacred rites and ceremony, honoring that amniotic sac that we sat in, burying it or freezing it or dehydrating it and eating it so that you stay healthy, so your immune system is strong. Then there's the whole piece of the planets representing our whole body systems. The nine major systems of the body. So when we talk about how we were born, the time we were born, all of this has a lot to do with why you are the way you are right now. And it has a lot to do with your assignment. You ending up in a tribe such as Rebirth Woman. You coming in contact with LaTanya Taylor. LaTanya Taylor coming in contact with all of the teachers that I have come to and through. And the master teachers who've trained me. And it's no accident, even the institutions that we've come through, even that plays a role and an influence. And so the houses are very important to understand, because when we talk about you becoming the priestess of your own household, I am not just talking about where you domicile. Because the truth is, you live in your body, and your body is still housing the spirit man or woman. But we get so attached to these identities and these things we call an address, and our frame of mind, the mindset that we have and inherited. Are y'all with me? I can't see who's talking or anything because of the presentation, and so I want to keep going. So when we talk about goddess or God is, therefore I am, what does it mean to you becoming the priestess of your own household? This journey of self or path of enlightenment, which means inner light, can be extremely rewarding, precisely because it is difficult. It's not easy. Whereas in the mainstream religions, there tends to be established answers to the great questions. We have to find our own answers and refresh and renew them every time. That is the rebirth. That's what this gateway represents. If you use the next few days, then the suggestions that I give to you in order to prepare. It's worth our time to explore being rather than just doing goddess, particularly you as a woman. Doing goddess's will on earth. Now, this is a very tiny picture right here that you can see me circling around. I hope to go into it more in our time, but these houses represent states of mind, states of being. Particularly those of you who will be in the membership. I'm going to do a very special training on the 7 aspects, which represents the energy of the mother in particular. Even though there are 12, we may go through all 12, but I want you to be able to know your main 7. I wish I could make this bigger. I intended to put it, but you can see that there are certain gifts that come in these houses: advising, dreaming, reflecting. You can't necessarily see it. I wish I could make it bigger. Maybe I will after I get through this in the debrief. But when we think of houses, right? Most of the time when you hear me say becoming the priesthood of your own household, we're thinking again where you domicile, but that is a representation of the house that you grew up in, the mindset of the house that you grew up in, the influences of the house and houses that you came through. Because the next house that we go to is the church house or the mosque house or the temple. But you are the temple, you are the shrine. I love the affirmation that Queen Afua gave us from ancient Kemet culture. I am the temple. I am the shrine. I am the mosque. I am the daughter. Consider the influences of your house this week. This is important. Why? So that you're not amplifying woundology. That the needs and the desires that you want to focus on creating, attracting, are not coming from a spirit of lack, scarcity, escapism, fight or flight, avoidance, isolation, or neglect. Because these are all other aspects of the shadows that live in some of these houses, some of these temples. We become so literal that we only know the letter of the word, but we don't know the application of it. And so the scripture says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, a woman, a goddess, I put away childish things. And that is the preparation assignment that I want to talk to you about in terms of this Sekhmet energy, is putting away childish things. What are the childish things that you may need to put away? The houses and consciousness or mindset have a lot to do with what's governing your subconscious mind. Your priesthood, you're as above, so below, because whatever you think is what you bring about. What you think about is what you bring about. The subconscious mind and conscious mind governs our life, and people spend enormous amounts of money and effort to develop and know their mind and empower their subconscious and conscious mind. Oftentimes we rarely go to astrology as something that's powerful. So this Lion's Gateway, for those of you who are saying yes to it, there's something inside of you that knows something. And for those of you who are so tactical and so focused on your bag, you're so focused on manifesting a partner, there is a benefit to learning through some different types of mindset, which is clarifying your choice. You want to do that today. What is the focus or the scope or the priority that you have been focusing on? If you've been focusing on a problem or just trying to get through a problem, then you are giving more energy to problems. But when you are focusing on what is the real priority, not just of myself, but the legacy that I desire to leave as the priestess, what am I responsible for? Also imagining the future without getting attached to it. Sometimes we say we want a partner or we want to manifest a particular house, but we don't know that the thing that's in our mind is impressed upon us sometimes by false definitions of success or programs about what you think you should be doing when something else could be better for us. So that's why it's always good to think about what you desire and also saying, or something better than this. That's the law of detachment when we are using the attraction process. and the evaluating possibilities, the present value, the risk, and the discount rate is something that's used more in the language of business. And I'm going to say that for those I'm working with in business. If you're one of my coaches, one of my clients who I'm working with in business, this also looks at this. This is something to consider in terms of even how you price your offers, how you price yourself, and are you getting what you deserve? And so we're going to skip over the discount rate for here, but understand that some of us are discounting our values in ways of our purpose and ways of our practices. And we'll take it further in terms of profits and profit planning for those who are working with me around profits. Also, we'll look at evaluating the intangibles as well later. But you do need to do research in your own bloodline. You do need to do research of your own patterns to evaluate yourself. Requires research. What are some of the things that you've repeated over and over and over again? And when we think about considering other people's reasoning, that also is more of the business language that we'll get into. But I do want you to consider your language. Consider your influence as a leader, as an influencer. So the question is, what are you willing to discover and reset in this gateway? Priests and priestesses don't just serve themselves. You can have special powers and special gifts and protect certain gifts. We'll get into Isis a little bit more, but it goes so much further beyond that. Because other people, you are responsible for the new discoveries. What are you going to do with the new discoveries? How are you going to reprogram your household, your mindset, your subconscious mind, and how you manifest? How are you going to prosper? And so this is the responsibility of answering this call. It says that being a priest or priestess not only is not only knowing the proper rites, but also pursuing knowledge of all kinds, striving to make some new discovery. There can be no doubt that teaching went on in ancient Egyptian temples. Of course, this knowledge was only for a select group. Those who were of the priesthood went through initiation in mystery schools. Yet it is the informed work of the priesthood so that they can be more effective in their service on behalf of Egypt. Is not just back then. This is right now to your people as a whole. How can you be of service to your people, your bloodline, your family? Even if you're not speaking to your family, I have an assignment for that. Because you can bring the breakdowns that are happening in your family to this gateway. Sometimes we think that we need to talk to the person or we need to figure it out. But a job sometimes of the priest and the priesthood is to bring it to a higher realm, a higher vibration, to know how to give that over in ceremony. And so when you think, don't just think about paying a bill or having enough money to manifest for a vacation, or just picturing yourself. Everybody wants to be on a beach with no responsibility and barefoot. But what about the farmland that some of you say you want to manifest and you want to pass on? What about the businesses and different things? How can you even begin to do that if our families are so broken that we're broke down over who got vaccinated and who didn't? If we're broke down over what religion somebody practices, if we're broke down over who lied and who shot John, we have these breakdowns in family inheritance. When somebody leaves here, what type of offenses has happened? What illegitimate children have caused families to feel betrayal? These are things that some of you know about, but we don't even talk about them in our own family. And then when we meet other people, we have these, we want them to have a certain responsibility in our friendships and in our sisterhoods. We go and pledge sororities and fraternities to have a certain relationship with them that we haven't even set up in terms of boundaries, codes, creeds, and decrees in our own families. We are out of order. So the sign of Leo that represents love, generosity, leadership, and creativity, it deals with matters of the heart, but it is also symbolic of courage, of rising to the royal occasion, rising to our own reset of old programs, old wounds, even if they're not ours. You may know your mothers and your fathers. And so that we can clear the way for the natural energy of prosperity, power, and purpose. So what is the assignment? We're going to do some very specific things. I want you to make sure that you have a journal and some pens. And let me see. Stop sharing. Come back in here for a minute. For those of you who are still who are here, I want you to have colored pens and a journal. Want you to have fire, some type of fire, meaning incense, a candle. And then you need to be prepared to go outside after we perform the activation. Remember, we're meeting at 8. But in this week, I want you to consider the liabilities in your own house. What are some of the liabilities? Mental, emotional, and physical. Be specific, because some of those liabilities may be the way you think, the way things are set up, the structure of your family. Some of you are still operating on the program of, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. So what happens when you, as the matriarch, the overseer, what happens when you aren't doing it? Those are liabilities to consider. What have you inherited? It may be an addiction. It may be the mindset stuff is really easy to just get stuck there or stay there. But I do want you to consider, what's the state of your financial affairs? What happens if do you have a living will? Do you have something in place for burial? I really want you to think about these things so we can expand beyond being stuck. Because if you want to create and attract something new, it's going to demand you to have the difficult conversations as a priestess with yourself first. So before you even go to have them with your family, or to create a new plan in spirit and in truth. You all understand what I'm saying here? Tell me what you're hearing. Tell me what you're hearing right now. Even if you are not old enough to have considered a living will or the state of your health, some of you may be new mothers or considering motherhood. Who's going to help you raise your children? And if you've fallen out with your family, or you can't trust. How about if you can't trust girls in your family around certain people? Have we dealt with that? Do we have other relationships? Have we set up something for our plan, our contingency? Do we have a trust? Do we even know about a trust? Do you have a corporation? Or are you doing everything as a W-2 identity? Come on now. An employee mindset could be the very generational curse that you have inherited, because nobody's thinking about anything else. Are you just thinking as a W-2? Are you, come on, talk back to me. Because many of us are still, we want to go get a W-2 when the game is bigger than a W-2. So when we talk about sovereignty as a woman, sovereign womanhood, what does that mean? To be to be able to move in the marketplace and as the medicine woman. What is our relationship with growing food? If right now you're the priestess of your household, what do you know how to do and what don't you know how to do? Make a list of your assets and liabilities. What are your assets? What are some of the things that you do well? And not just you. What are some of the things that other people in your family do very well so that you can start thinking about if we had to do family banking? Hint, hint, hint. If we had to do family investments. Now check this out. If you don't have family, that's okay. Sometimes you have to choose to collaborate with those you have chosen as your family. And who are they? Have you had these conversations? Check this out. I'm going to tell y'all some game after I come off YouTube because membership has its privileges. I want to tell you something someone told me that blessed me. Oh my God. So if you're listening on YouTube, thank you for listening. I want to have a little talk with just the women in the tribe. If you are welcome to join us in Rebirth Woman, I would love to invite you to the Paradigm Shifter community. Please join Paradigm Shifters. Join the mothership, as I call it. And the Paradigm Shifter, it really is the first level where we're going to be having our Rebirth Sunday School and taking on topic by topic, such as this, breaking this thing down from a metaphysical, matriarchal, and medicine woman point of view. Please join the membership. I'll show you, some of you who are in the group, I've shown you before how to join the membership. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. For those of you who say, I don't know how to find it. I can't find it. Let me see if I can find it for you really quickly with all of my tabs that are open. God bless my soul. Because I'm going to relax a little bit and just take some of the ahas that have come up for you. Okay, I'm just going to go to real quick, share this tab. I'm going to have to work with what I got in front of me quickly. I got so many tabs open, Lord. Okay. I'm getting to the tab. So it'll be easy and effortlessly. Oh, I got to the right one. So you should be able to see this new tab to be able to get to sign up for the membership. You can claim your gift as well. This is where you can find all of the free resources. Join the YouTube channel. Join, if you're on YouTube, you can come right here where it says Get Nourished in the Safe Place of Sisterhood to join Rebirth Woman. But here is where you would find the memberships. The Paradigm Shifter monthly membership. And then this will be another piece that's coming soon, the Gateway of the Goddess. And I can't wait to go deeper into how these houses represent certain mindsets and certain archetypes that we were born to. Some of us were born to certain gateways that represent certain archetypes. And any other private coaching consultation that you would want to do, all of it can be found here. I will also place the link in the chat, just so I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Okay. But it's in the chat if you can. So get there. Thank you for watching on YouTube.